Good morning all, Gary here, GESA Electrical, your smart spark from the northern suburbs of Adelaide. Today I'd love to talk to you about sensors and sensor lights. It's winter time, it's getting dark early, we're coming home in the dark, we're leaving in the morning in the dark, and lights to be available would be really cool so we know where we're going. Now, there is sensors and there is sensors, and I want to talk to you about what's the differences and which ones are the better ones to go for, which ones you should be rather avoiding. Now, let's say plain simple. If you walk into a hardware store and pick up a sensor light, you get like a coach light with a sensor attached. They're like 70 bucks, and you get the light on its own without the sensor, and they are like 40 bucks. So what's the sensor worth? 30, isn't it? Now, if I quickly go and show you how much Calypso is selling their infrascans for, because they used to be the benchmark. I mean, look at this. And that's trade. It's trade. If sensors would be really available for 30 bucks, wouldn't you think that the biggest player in the market would go out there and sell them for the same price? No, because there's differences. There's massive differences. So if this little tiny thing is really worth 30 bucks, you can imagine how long it's going to last and how far it's going to reach you. So I've got 3 sitting here on the shelf, which I want to show it to you and talk to you about so you can see the differences. Let's start with the Calypso one, okay? Calypso InfraScan used to be the benchmark, the pinnacle, the best ones you can get, 5-year warranty. Well, they're still damn bloody good and are still one of our preferred ones to use. You can adjust several things, as in how long does the time stay on? Does the light stay on? When does it come on, as in darkness level? If you put a sensor, let's say, on the front wall and it's exposed to more or less sunlight, it might be a lot brighter out there than under your carport where you need it. On the flip side, if you put the sensor under the carport, you might be able to adjust that so it comes on a little bit earlier. It's a really cool feature. And the last one is reach. Reach in as how far out does it go and grab you when you come down the driveway or you go to the front of your house. It's a really cool feature. The other one we love to use is the Haiger equivalent. Excuse me, I've got my alarm going off. See, that's the thing about going live. Everything happens here at the same time. Sorry, guys. Haiger looks a little bit schmicker, has different ways of mounting it against walls, against ceilings. There's even a bracket out there so you can mount it against corners. Also, that sensor here has a 220-degree reach, which is literally the entire width of your house, while the Calypso has a 110-degree reach. It's more or less narrow. Pretty cool. Gets a little bit further. Also looks a little bit schminker, and the controls for this one are hidden behind that panel there. Very same thing, reach, time, and darkness level. You put it the right way? Oh, different way around, but it's the same way of adjusting it. That's a really cool sensor. And looking at their price tag, just to give you an idea. Are we? That's where they are. They have different levels of sensors though, so there is better versions of these, and the price tag goes accordingly with it. Yet these two are my sensors of choice compared to the 30-buck sensor which you get from your hardware store. This is a much better option. So if you need a decent sensor light outside when you come home or when you leave in the morning, that'll be my choice. I'm not saying the ones which are integrated aren't good. They have their place, absolutely. Backyards, general lighting, they're pretty good. If you want something schmink, you go with this. If you want something in general, you go, let's say, with a couple of sensors and a couple of floodlights and a sensor attached in the middle. That's a really good version as well. Now here I want to show you something else. And that's something I put actually in one of our toilets. Seriously. It's called a presence sensor. Put it inside, put it on the ceiling, you walk into the loo and the lights turn on automatically. Even better, it's a presence sensor, which means you don't have to flip your hands once the lights go off. If you're sitting there like some people do and actually have a read while being on the John, just turning the page in the book is good enough for the light to stay on. That's a really cool feature. Small, tiny, fits in there, comes in the recessed version. Really cool thing. Love it. So there's different sensors for different occasions, for different applications, and it really depends on what you're after. In an ideal scenario, hey, give us a shout, get your electrician out and say, can you please advise me on what you believe is the right sensor for me? And a professional Sparky will know what's out there, will know what's the best one for your situation. Cheap isn't always good, but it doesn't have to be expensive to be good. It depends really on what you need it for and where you got to use it for. Sometimes you got bushes in the way. Let's talk about outside again, okay? Because sensors basically work on the way and they look at temperature movement. So they look at the background temperature, and if something with a different temperature moves in the front, they get it. So you have, let's say, your fence, a person walking across, they get it. A cat walking across can get it. Having a tree or a bush there and the wind blowing through can get it. And that's why it's important that you're actually able to adjust it a little bit better, or put, let's say, 2 on either end of your home to make sure you're only going to grab what you really need, and not whenever a car passes by, your lights come on. I've got a client down the road here. They've got, I think, 4 10-watt LED floodlights, and I'm going to talk about these at another time, to lighten up the front yard if somebody comes home. There's only one sensor to go with them at the front. It is the Eclipse, and they had to adjust it in a way that whenever they come in, the lights come on. But it also means if a car passes through at night, because you can't really cut that one off, cars goes through at night, all the lights come on. Fantastic security feature, really fantastic security feature if that's what you're after. The client wanted that. They wanted a security feature if somebody passes by. Happy with that. Me personally, I would have probably put 2 on either side of the house to make sure that I'm only going to get it what's coming in my front yard. But that's fine. Everybody has different applications. That's what I'm saying. If you want to know what's the best one for you, you talk to a professional who should know their stuff and is able to give you the right advice with going in there. I can see there's some background chatter going up with Stephen Smith. Hey mate, where are the subtitles? Dude, if I could do subtitles, I'd be doing subtitles. Maybe you can come over here for me, be my scribe, and actually punch it in while I'm trying to do it. You might be able to translate it proper English as well. Sorry guys. Hey, working on it. So if you got any questions in regards to sensors, please let us know. Please talk to your Sparky of choice and get the right advice for what's needed for you. I hope that made sense. I hope you actually walk away from here and you know a little bit more. And I wish you all a fantastic Friday, and we shall see you all next week. Thanks so much for having me, and have a great weekend. Bye.